Welcome back to another Harmony Bonanza. If this is the first video of mine you're watching, what I do is I talk about harmony, specifically chords you're going to find in improvised music throughout the world, and I talk about the way I approach them, and I show you some examples. This video is going to cover the diminished chord and the diminished major 7 chord, which I find are the most beautiful chords. I'm going to show them in two different sonic environments. The first one being just piano with the option as well, only piano. The second environment is going to be with a pad, a beat added to it for interest, and I'll play them on the bass here. Let's get things rolling here with voicing on piano of just the diminished 7th. Little warning, piano comes in kind of hot. So here's just the chord. No options, nothing else added to it. The first 3 options or choices are all from the same half-whole diminished scale. What I do is I concentrate on 7 flat 9 chords built from the 4th, the major 2nd, and the major 7. So if these are all in C, we're going from F, D, and B. It's all from the same half-whole diminished scale, but when you focus on a specific dominant chord from that, you get a specific flavor. I'll play all 3 of those now with the piano voicings, and you'll hear how they bring out a different flavor. Starting with F7 flat 9, then moving to D7 flat 9, and then going to B7 flat 9. The 4th option I like to use is the 7th mode of harmonic minor. So in this case, it would be D flat harmonic minor over a C diminished 7 chord. Here's the chord and the scale on piano. Hopefully you'll hear how that fits nicely into the sound. The last and 5th option for diminished 7 chords is using the 4th mode of harmonic minor. So I will be using G harmonic minor over a C diminished 7. Here we go with the piano. So now I'll play the same chord, except this time with a pad and a beat with it on electric, and I'll mess around with those options. You can hear how they work in bass world over that sound. As I play through these, listen for the subtle variations with each of the dominant 7 flat 9 options, the first 3. Here's the first one, dominant 7 flat 9 from perfect 4th. Here's a second option, dominant 7 flat 9 from the major second. Here's a third option, 7 flat 9 from the major 7. The fourth option is thinking of the 7th mode of harmonic minor. The last and not necessarily final option that I'll choose for diminished 7 chords is the 4th mode of harmonic minor. The second chord in this video is the diminished major 7. Distinctly different sound, distinctly different flavor, therefore different options. Here's just piano with the sound of the chord and all the options, starting with just a plain chord, diminished major 7. My first go-to option for diminished major 7 is a major 7, sharp 11, sharp 9, built from the major 6. That sound on top of a piano chord sounds like this. The second option reflects one of the options in the diminished 7 chord, where I'm using a dominant flat 9 from the major 7. Here's what that sounds like over this chord. The third option has two variations, and is different from all the other options. For the third option, I'm going to use a 2-5 pattern that would be going to the major third of the chord. And yes, you can have a major third in a diminished chord. There, I said it. So in this case, you can do the major form of a 2-5, which is just minor 7 to a dominant 7, and the minor form of a 2-5, which is a half diminished 7 to a altered dominant. Here's the first variation of that, which is a major 2-5 going to the major third of a diminished major 7 chord. Now all these chords are in C, so it's going to be F sharp minor 7 to a B7, and I let it resolve to E so you can hear what that sounds like. And here's the minor form of that 2-5 going to the third, the major third of a diminished major 7 chord. My next choice is using a major pentatonic scale from the major second. So over a C diminished major 7, I'll be playing a D major pentatonic. Here's what that sounds like. Another pentatonic option I like is using a minor pentatonic from the flat 6. Sounds like this. With this next option, I finally bring in the harmonic major scale. Haven't talked about that before, but in this case, I use the fourth mode of it to play over a diminished major 7 chord. Sounds like this. There's two more options, and these are a combination of things. So the first one is going to be a mixture of a dominant 7 and a minor pentatonic built from the major 7. So in this example, it goes up one, comes down the other over the sound of the chord. In this last option, a combination option, if you will, I'm mixing a dominant 7 from the major 7 and the perfect 4. So really a tritone substitution of each other. Here now are those options again, playing with a pad, a beat, and the bass. So the first one is a major 7, a sharp 11, a sharp 9, built off the major 6. Second choice is a dominant 7 flat 9 from the major 7. Now, here we have the third option, which has two variations. This is the 2-5 to a major third over a diminished major 7 chord in a major form and a minor form. So in this case, it's a C diminished major 7 happening in the pad, so I'm going to play, first time, I'm going to play F sharp minor 7 to B7, and I'll go ahead and resolve it to E, to the note E. I'll pause, and then I'll play the minor form of that, which is going to be an F sharp half diminished to a B7 altered, again resolving to E. You hear how that sounds? Next option is a major pentatonic built from the major second. Next up, we have a minor pentatonic built from the flat 6. Next option is our harmonic major option, where we're going to use the 4th mode, or think of the 4th mode of harmonic major. So if we're in C, we'll be thinking of G harmonic major. We're almost there. 2 more options. These are the combo options. The first one is a mixture of a dominant 7 and a minor pentatonic from the major 7. And this one gets you more into the bluesier, funkier kind of sound over this. The last option here, the combo option, is going to be mixing a dominant 7 built from both the major 7 and the perfect 4th. So if you want to think of it, if our chord is C, we're using a B7 and an F7. So tritones of each other. It sounds like this. So that was a quick run through of the options I like to use for diminished 7 chords and diminished major 7 chords. I hope the graphics helped you keep track of things. If you would, grant me the latitude of a small explanation of how I like to think about these chords and how I apply all these options. I think I've ended up finding so many options because I wasn't satisfied with just a couple. Sometimes they don't fit into the situation, so it's really important to be in tune with what's happening around the chord harmonically. Like, you're assuming that these chords are going to appear in a tune that you're playing. and it matters what comes before it and what comes after it, as well as what kind of effect you want. You want a more melodic effect, you want a more tense effect, darker effect, lighter effect. These options provide you those choices. There's a tune in the real book by Steve Swallow called Arise Her Eyes. That has several diminished chords in it, and they occupy their own harmonic space, not necessarily as passing chords or dominant substitutions, which is how you'll see them used the majority of the time. The changes in the real book are not that good, so I'm going to provide a link of the recording from which I transcribed the first chorus of the piano comping over it. And it is Steve Swallow playing upright from 1969. Definitely worth checking out. Link in description. What I hope you'll be able to discern in the performance, which will be on upright, which I have to switch everything over for here in a second, is how I'm not using the same options for each diminished chord. And there'll be a graphic up with the changes so you can follow along. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. One more video, major chord family. We'll keep that brief, and after that, we'll get into the weeds on all this harmony stuff. Thank you.